My 22 female fiancé, 25 male, wants his father to check my hymen tomorrow night before I get married. Original post. My fiancé proposed to me about 8 months ago. We decided on having a relatively small wedding, which is in 2 days. Everything was going great. He seems absolutely perfect and we are very much in love. I am a virgin and so is he. He wanted to save it for marriage and I wasn't fussed, so I agreed to saving it. He has told me earlier that in his family the father checks the virginity of the bride the night before the wedding. I laughed this off as it was seriously sounds like a massive joke. No, turns out he was dead serious. He wants me the night before to open my legs up in a small ceremony type thing so his dad can check me while him, his brothers, and uncle can watch so that they know I am still pure. I told him fat chance I'm going to do that, and he was begging me to go through with it and how important it is for him. He said he knew it was slightly embarrassing for me, but his mom did, and it will prove how much I love him and that I have nothing to hide anyway, as I am still a virgin. I left and he was crying. It was very dramatic, to be honest. I want to call the whole wedding off because of this and never talk to him again. But at the same time, it's only one thing, and other than that, we are genuinely perfect for each other, and I don't want to spend my life with anyone else, and it is very important to him and his family. What the frick-frack do I do? I am currently at my friend's house and I might stay here for the night. Tomorrow would be our last day as an unmarried couple and I am straight up panicking. Now for some additional comments before reading the update. He said he knew it was slightly embarrassing for me, but his mom did, and it will prove how much I love him. He told in all sincerity that showing your genitals to his father, uncles, and brother is the same as you showing your love for him? Who gives an F what his mom did to get married X number of years ago? He can go marry his mom if he wants someone who is comfortable with this strange tradition. Or he can offer to show his taint to all of your mom, aunts, sisters, etc. It's only slightly embarrassing, right? In all honesty, this sounds borderline cultish. If you really want to marry this man, you should not allow him to push you into something you are uncomfortable with. It would be a very bad start to the marriage. You're 22 and an inexperienced sexually, so from that information, there's a chance this will be your first experience showing your genitals to someone who is not a medical professional. Do you really want those people to be all your fiance's immediate male family members? Right? She should make him go to his very own ballsack viewing by all of her female family members, and they all get a chance to grope him. This is a disgusting tradition and is sexual assault. I can't believe someone would ask a woman they love to do this. This isn't love, OP. There are plenty of men or women who would never make you do something like this to prove anything and would in fact protect you from something so vile. Run fast, girl. He said he knew it was slightly embarrassing for me. Slightly embarrassing? If he considers being forced to expose yourself to an audience consisting of your future in-laws only to be slightly embarrassing, I'd hate to see what he considers to be actual embarrassment. Why is the burden of proving love being placed upon you? If anything, this is his chance to prove how much he loves you by standing up to his family, for his future wife by telling them that there will be no genital gawking ceremony. Honestly, it makes me feel like her future father-in-law and all the other men wanting to be involved with this ceremony are trying to see a young woman's tight virgin vagina. It's like child porn, only real life, because to them, you're a young woman and exposing yourself for all of them to see is probably a major turn-on for them because they're in a position of power and authority, and OP is just a young woman trying to please her man by doing what he tells her is the right thing to do. I feel so disgusted for OP right now. Those men are more than disgusting. This feels extremely taboo, unnecessary, and downright sickening. I'm so sorry things like this even exist. Now for the update. First of all, thank you so much for all the replies. I didn't think this would get so big. I've read pretty much all of them. Special shout out goes to the person who says this was a fake solely on the fact that I write like a man, whatever that means, XD. Also, thanks for all the gold and silver. It's appreciated, although If you want to spend money, give it to charity or something. I went and talked to him this morning. I told him that his father is not going to look at me, and he needs to respect that. He was adamant that it needs to happen and accused me about lying about my virginity. I was trying to be calm and rational, but he was not having it and just became more and more angry. I told him if he really loved me, he would stand by me on this and tell his father no, to which he slapped me and said he didn't need to prove anything. So I ended it and left him. I am currently back at my friend's house being miserable and eating pizza, which is pretty fun. So yep, thanks everyone. Story 2. My girlfriend turned me into a morning person and made me realize I want to marry her someday. Full disclosure, neither of us are ready for marriage, so there won't be a proposal update anytime soon, but she made me realize I want to spend the rest of my life with her. On mobile, and I have a lot of details because I want you to see my girlfriend through my eyes. Throwaway because even though she doesn't have Reddit, my friends do. And I don't want them to freak her out about the marriage part because I know she's not near ready. Anyway, on to the story. So I, 21 male, moved in with my girlfriend, 20 female, of 2 years about 3 months ago. Now I'm in no way a morning person and dread waking up anytime earlier than 12 to 1, if I can help it. My girlfriend R and I both work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I like having the same schedule as her, but I hate waking up at 7 to 8 a.m. every day, so before I moved in with her, I normally spent my weekends sleeping until 2 to 3. My girlfriend is also not a morning person and has a hard time waking up in the morning most of her life until she started working at her current job. She still hates it, but she says it's easier than it used to be. The first week after I moved in, she would wake up after about 3. Alarms where it would take me about 7 or 8 snoozes to wake up. But by the time I woke up, she had already showered and made coffee. Then the weekend rolls around and Saturday morning, R gets up at around 10, and I was half awake for long enough to check my phone before going back to sleep. I woke up again around 11 because Mother Nature was calling and heard her singing. Because I was still asleep, she was singing quietly, so she wouldn't wake me up. I came out of the room and saw her playing Minecraft with one earbud in, and the house smelled like coffee. She just looked up, smiled, said good morning, and then went back to playing. Next morning, same thing. I was more conscious this time because I recognized her voice in my sleep and was semi-awake. Every weekend morning, she would do the same thing, wake up around 10, sometimes even 9, make coffee and play Minecraft for a few hours while singing quietly so she wouldn't wake me up. Around the third week, I found myself waking up at 10:30 to 11 and laying in bed just to listen to her sing and get frustrated while playing. Around week 5, I was waking up and going in and sitting on the floor with her, just listening to her while drinking coffee and scrolling through my phone. Something about the smell of coffee, the morning light, her singing, and being able to just lay next to her doing absolutely nothing was so peaceful. It made me look forward to the weekend mornings. I noticed it was easier to wake up during the week, and we got into the habit of waking up at the same time. I would start making coffee while she showers, and we would spend a little bit of time together in the mornings during the week too. One morning we woke up and sat in the living room together, and the sun from the window behind the couch was hitting her, and it felt like I was in a movie. There's no other way to describe it. She lit up like an angel, and she was singing as always. I couldn't breathe, I swear. I knew right then and there I was so deeply in love with her I would do anything, and I wanted to spend my life laying on the floor next to her while she played Minecraft and sang. This woman single-handedly fixed my sleep schedule and made me fall in love with her, doing the same thing she did before I moved in, only with me. Story 3. My 17 female manager had me leave the new girl waiting tables on her own, so I took her at her word. I, 17 female, am a waitress, server, cashier at a semi-local Italian chain. Not going to say which, but it's considered a specialty of the DMV area. I recently had to take a month off of work for health reasons since I was in the emergency room and then had to spend time in inpatient. While I was away, there were huge changes at my job, including new managers and 2 new employees. I've only been working there since last June, but I picked things up pretty quickly. Barring the first day, I had to deal with a panicked dining room by myself while still in training. I'd messed up pretty badly with the computer system and needed the manager's help. Still, it happens. Yesterday, I met the new girl for the first time. It was her third day still in training. She's my age and a complete sweetheart. And as the dining room slowly became more and more packed, we made a great team. She got to practice working with the computers and talking to customers while I took down the orders and showed her how everything worked. It was her first time properly serving there, and she really did great considering that, certainly at first. The other two people who were working was a manager and one other hourly employee. The managers at my job will also serve and work the counters. Basically, all waitresses have to do double the work and we still get paid dirt, but that's another story. I was running between the dining room and the counters to try to keep up. Although we can only serve max 2 people at the counters, picking up or placing orders at a time, it was to the point where my manager and her friend had bundled up and complained about how cold it was. While I was flushed with my coat off, covered in sweat, cleaned myself up when dealing with the food, of course, the manager and her friend were sitting down together, alternating between scrolling on their phones and talking, only getting up to answer the phones when they had already rung 5+ times and having people wait at the counters to be helped for 10+ minutes. It was massively irritating, but I didn't have the time or energy to confront them. Well, about halfway through my shift, my manager told me that I can't just go in between the dining room and the counter, and if I didn't pick one or the other, she'd withhold my tips for both, since I wasn't fully invested in either. Ouch. She gave me a choice on paper, but in reality it made it perfectly clear that I was stuck behind the counter and the new girl, the trainee, was on her own. There was nothing I could really do, so I just stayed at the counter, though that was pretty slammed in and of itself, and I really could have used my 2 coworkers who were screwing around on their phones. I didn't have time to answer phone calls, pack up orders, check people out, and go to take orders all at once, and I had one particularly angry woman call me a lazy bee for leaving her on hold for about 2 minutes. That stuck with me. While I was doing all this, the new girl was stuck with a packed dining room and no help. About 20 minutes into it, my manager approaches me looking both angry and sheepish. Basically, the trainee had messed up and charged the wrong orders to the wrong cards and needed help. Though the way she phrased this was, you don't have to stay by the counter the whole time. That's not what I meant. I looked over and could see her friend on her phone still, and the manager herself still had AirPods on and playing on her own phone screen. I responded in my sweetest, most respectful voice, "I'm sorry, but we only get paid $10 an hour. My tips are too vital for me to forfeit them, so I'm going to stay put." Context: minimum wage is $15.65 where I live. She was floored, and instead of helping either of us, herself waddled back to her seat and resumed her show. Of course, I ended up checking in with the trainee and asked if she needed my help. And if the mistake was sorted out, she said that she had things back under control, and a lot of the people dining in were headed out, which was great because the counter was still slammed. The kicker? This morning, apparently, a customer called in and complained that the blonde girl, me, and the girl with braids, trainee, were so busy that they were sweating, while the other 2 women, manager and her buddy, were sitting on their phones. I only wish I saw her face when she heard about the complaint. Now for the updates. Update 1. I really wasn't expecting this to blow up. Wow. It breaks my heart that a lot of people can relate. I'm having a hard time keeping up with comments, but I'm reading through as many as I can. I'll update after my shift tonight. For clarity, I'm 17. My manager is middle-aged. I have other applications out, but have yet to hear back, and am definitely planning on reporting to the state. I guess they cut corners here after all. I'd also like to say yes, I am really 17. English isn't my first language, and I was raised largely by my Ukrainian grandmother. So if my vocabulary, almost said vernacular, just to mess with people, is a little dated or odd, apologies. Update 2. I've been looking into ways to try and get things sorted out. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to report it as I've been applying for other jobs, but haven't heard back, and I can't afford to be fired in retaliation. As I've mentioned in some of my responses to comments, I am a self-supporting 17-year-old who has bills due regardless and is trying really hard to not drop out of school, so close to graduation. I've been put in touch with social programs and assistants, but they all take a really long time to hear back from. Some folks suggested starting a GoFundMe so I could afford to quit my job and still survive in the interim, but I'm not really comfortable doing that as I don't feel I'm a charity case yet to that degree. I do have Venmo. If anyone's feeling particularly giving, though, I'm not expecting anything obviously, at H-and-PIK23. I'll keep this post updated. Update 3, nothing much to report, as there's no way to do a state audit without the name of the employee, me, being revealed. We'll keep this updated. Story 4, am I the a-hole for threatening to not attend my sister's wedding? I, 29 female, have a sister called Ella, 27 female. Growing up, I was put in the position of being a parent to Ella, despite how close we are in age. Our dad died while we were young, which, to be honest, wasn't much of an impact because he wasn't present or involved, and I don't think he really wanted us. Then when Ella was 6 and I was 8, she was diagnosed with diabetes and ended up in the hospital after falling extremely sick, which is how they diagnosed her. Mom fell apart and basically checked out after the diagnosis. She went to the hospital every day and was there, but she never took anything in. Made no effort to make sure she was able to help Ella deal with her diagnosis. Wasn't there for me. Once Ella came home, I had to take over and make sure we had something to eat, and I had to push Mom to bring money into the house some way because she lost her job after Ella's diagnosis when she basically ghosted her boss and refused to speak to them. It was a tough life, and Ella really clung to me. Lines were blurred because I wanted to be her sister, but she needed and wanted a parent. And after a while, I was more of a mom in her eyes than a sister. Our relationship never returned to one of sisters, for Ella couldn't see me as anything other than her parent. Ella is now engaged to Jackson, 30 male. Jackson is my ex. We were together from the ages of 19 to 23. Jackson cheated on me and stole from me. He slept with a girl who was shitty to me at work and tried to excuse it as they got drunk. Though I found out about it, it happened at least 5 times. He also bought her stuff with my money. Literally took it from my house to buy this chick's stuff. I was furious. I even called the police on him when I learned what he had done. Ella started dating him 18 months ago. I wasn't happy when she told me. No part of me thought it was a good idea. She told me she knew he was an awful jerk when I knew him, but he had changed and blah, blah, blah. I told her it was her life, but she had to understand if they ended up being a serious thing, it wouldn't mean that I would be close to him. She told me that we, my husband and I, husband was Jackson's best friend when I was dating him, and it's how we met, should at least be civil and give things a chance. The problem now is she told me to buy Jackson a gift as a symbol of me accepting him into our little family. She has been at this for 3 months now and won't let up. She accused me initially of being bitter because I wouldn't. But then she called me selfish last week when I said I wouldn't buy him shit. She told me I have always been selfish and it set me off because everything after I did for her, she called me selfish and I threatened to skip her wedding. She got so upset and ran to extended family. Family who did nothing for us when we were kids, who all told me I was awful for making that threat. Ella even said I was cruel to even consider not showing. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top of comments. Not the a-hole. And why didn't you cut her off the moment she started dating your crappy ex? I have no idea. Why did you think that was a normal thing? Are you so used to caretaking for your sister that you just decided to accept that she was a sweet, innocent person who didn't know what she was doing while she was shacking up with a jerk? She's not so young and naive to know that what she did was extraordinarily messed up. But you still chose to remain in her life, which makes no sense to me. Your dad was involved in your life. Your mom checked out and walked all over you so that you could raise her daughter. And then you let her daughter walk all over you happily, even though she was boning your ex. Hopefully your husband is a solid guy and he encourages you to seek therapy so you can understand why you let people do this to you and why you stay involved in people's lives who do this to you. Not the a-hole. Notice he doesn't seem to be saying anything in all this, so it shows he's not changed. Also, got to love her going, so he was an abusive, cheating, and lying ex, but ignore that because I want to date him. She's become used to you sacrificing for her. It's all she knows, and now you won't, and she's upset because she's not getting her way. Be blunt with her. She's dating a man who did huge amount of damage to your life. She made that choice, and as an adult, choices come with consequences, and you won't be sucking it up again as you were forced to do through her childhood. She's the one saying her relationship means more than you. This is on her, and if she doesn't like it, then that's her problem. Not the a-hole. Honestly, I would take a big step back from the relationship with your sister. She seems to take for granted that you sacrificed your childhood for her and continues to expect you to play martyr for her wishes. The fact that she started seeing a man that both cheated and stole from you tells me that she has absolutely no respect or true love for you. If one of my siblings did that, I wouldn't even speak to them again, much less go to their wedding. And ignore the rest of your family. It's funny how they turn up now to browbeat you into doing whatever your spoiled sister wants, but they were nowhere to be seen when you had to raise her as a child yourself. You deserve far better than these people you call family. Not the a-hole. Ella has made her own life choices which you don't agree with, but accept them as her choice. Ella needs to offer you the same consideration. You do not need to feel forced into a situation you're not comfortable with. You are not awful for refusing to buy a gift or refusing to go to a wedding. You are perfectly justified to miss both of these requests. I actually think it would be best to skip her wedding. How are you going to manage to say congratulations to both of them on the day? That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.